see. Oh, he can see me too. Never mind. Sorry. I thought we were doing a nature documentary.
So what's the concern?
Oh, that there's a wild Jew out there.
Oh,
And
no, just not out there, just in here.
Oh, well, yeah, over there. Or over there.
That's
They're all around you.
I think it's the second one. But, I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
In one of these two directions, a wild Jew could be near you.
It's more likely than you think.
Look to your left. Look to your right. One of these people is a wild Jew.
And the other is quite tame.
And the other is a very relaxed Jew. The old relaxed Jew.
Speaking of Hitler, I've noticed now that
Is
the red light. Well, that too, yes. But the red lights. Well, generally everything about you. But the red lights on. Oh. The red light's on in the corner, which means that people can now.
Which means we're in the right district. Let's go.
Yes.
Yes.
And also the correct district.
And also we can't go until it turns green. We have to stop here.
Yeah, you'd think that wouldn't be very good for business. I have thought that about like places that call themselves red light districts. It's like so no one can move.
Don't go there.
Damn, Steve would really like that.
Steve would love the red light
because nobody can move.
And none of them can move.
Oh, it's a good thing he pays zero attention to us.
Yeah, only when he needs us to promote his movie.
That's right. What a jerk.
That's all we're good for. How you doing today, Stoop?
Golly, it's a glorious day in God's country, and I'm feeling good.
Morgan Wallen.
Nina Simone, actually, but you're close. I'm fine. Everything's fine. How are you?
You sound very convincing that things are very fine.
Yeah, thanks. Well, see, because I'm the tame Jew.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to find a wild one.
Yeah, we'll catch one. Leave out. You know what? We'll stop now. How are you, buddy?
I am fantastic. I spent a little bit of time out in the hot tub before the show, so I'm nice and relaxed. Feeling good. The weather's starting to turn just a little bit, so that's happy. That's making me happy. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, though, so that sucks.
Every straight guy thinks they can turn the weather.
I know. I've tried. I can fix her.
That's what Al Gore says.
Today she's a stormy cloud. Tomorrow she's a sunny day.
Shit. Yeah. What else is happening?
What else is happening? What is going on? Anything?
Well, most things actually. So most things have already happened.
That's
of all the
true.
Like of all the things that have ever happened, most of them are not happening right now.
That's true.
So it's like pretty uneventful right now comparatively, like on a percentage basis. Like there's way more stuff that happened that isn't happening now.
Yeah, I think that's true. I don't have any data to back up that it's not true.
And there's also more stuff that's going to happen. This is now a Manosphere podcast. And see, there's 26 hours in a day, and here's how. or something. And women, stop it.
Yeah. Stop it, ladies.
Stop it. That's what they say, right?
Yes, very much so.
As a high value man, tell you what I can do. I can sit real good.
I'm gonna show you how I sit real good. Oh God, Where?
A woman
What?
shouldn't sit. It's not a woman's place to sit.
Not ladylike to sit.
Jesus, we are offensive in the first 6 minutes of this. God almighty.
What else is new?
God. Good thing no one's watching.
Yes, we are back at it again.
Oh boy.
Talking about
Unfortunately for you.
Unfortunately, we are back. Sorry about that. All right, Stu, what are we doing here, though? What are we doing? Why am I looking at you?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, days and thems, this is Talking Out Our Ass, the only bi-weekly talk show that happens once a month. Every time we do this, you've got hosts. You've got just like a talk show, So the hosts are yours truly, Stu Kid and Sam Reeves. And he's moshing in his house. He's breaking things.
I'm going crazy.
We interview a guest here. We have guests on. We love the guests. We have the best guests. Many people are saying this. And the guests come on. We tell them ahead of time, hey, don't tell us what you want to talk about. We don't want to prepare. We don't want to do you do the preparation. We don't want to do it. So hopefully the guest comes with something that they can talk about, want to talk about, feel like they know something about. And then we have to simply formulate an interview live on air in front of you all. That's it. Those are the rules. I don't know if you could call them rules.
Rules.
But that's all there is to it. So, sorry.
Yep. If you're watching it, that's on you.
Fuck you.
Yep.
That being said, did you book a guest?
What Tuesday is this? Today's the 27th. Oh yeah, I did book a guest. Yeah, I remember.
That's good because no one wants another 50 minutes of this.
Are you sure? Well, guess who doesn't have a choice? No, we don't have a guess. Okay, we know this man from Twitter, obviously. You may know him on TikTok. You may have seen him on Instagram. He may have officiated your wedding. We don't know, but we know he likes to eat and rate about it. So let's bring on Aaron Fitzpatrick. Aaron, how are you? Welcome to the show. The crowd.
Hello, how are we doing? Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us, sir. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I guess we've got the calm Jew and I guess I'm the mid-Gentile, I guess.
Oh, you're an exceptional Gentile. Sam's the one that's mid.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. No, I'm doing very well. I'm happy to be here. So.
You might be the first person that's happy to be here, so that's okay.
Good. Ask me at the end of the show. So.
Yeah. Don't worry, the people will definitely sense that you're no longer happy to be here.
Okay.
The only bi-weekly talk show whose guests are mandated by the courts to appear.
That's true.
Yeah, I got my postcard this morning, so
yeah.
Dude,
I actually got the first time I think I've ever gotten one. I got the jury duty summons the other day.
Oh no.
Yeah, and what if I just ignore it? Isn't that like they're not gonna know?
Whose peer would you even be?
Exactly. I'll just go to the court or wherever you go, and I'll say that. I'll be like, God,
I don't have any peers.
They'll smell me coming, and then they'll be like, yeah, you're right, dude. Just go, just please get out of here.
I heard this jury was hung. That's why I came here.
Ew.
All right, Mr. Fitz, what is this show going to be about?
Well, I was thinking about this. I got the idea last night. I was up near you, Sam. I was up in the Libertyville area.
Well, hello, welcome to the area.
And along 94 and passed by Six Flags. I'm like, well, it's summertime. Amusement parks are open. I was especially in my younger days, I visited amusement parks a don't do it as much now, but I was thinking amusement park rides. How about that?
Amusement
talk
park
about
rides.
amusement park rides. Yeah.
Well, this will be a flip of the episode we did with Keelan where we talked about amusement park disasters. So this will be a
Okay.
little bit more feel-good episode.
All right.
Because if there's one thing I know our audience wanted, it's to hear me talk some more about amusement park rides.
Okay. Well, I could change it up if you want.
This is great.
First of all,
perfect.
no, you can't. It's now illegal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't break the rules.
So off the bat, so are you a thrill seeker, as they say? Do you enjoy a roller coaster here and there?
Oh, I love roller coasters. I'm not, it's weird because I would say I'm afraid of heights, but I'm not afraid of roller coasters.
Oh, me too.
Okay.
Oh, me too.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. In back the summer before my freshman year of high school, my parents won a drawing from Dominic's grocery store for a free family pass to Six Flags. And it was like the greatest summer of my life. Love roller coasters. I can't ride them quite as frequently now at 49 as I did at 13, but I love them, and I love the thrill. I love the fear that you get through it, but I love roller coasters. So yeah, that's so let's go.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm there with you. It is a little bit different riding roller coasters with an adult body with some miles on it, which I've come to learn in recent years that I go to the park with the same level of excitement and enthusiasm that I had as a kid, and then as a kid you could just lap these things over and over and over.
Oh,
and
yeah.
As an adult, you get off there and you're like, wow, I really just got the shit kicked out of me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, last time I was there last August with my youngest daughter. She was 22, and I just couldn't keep up with her as much. I'm like, okay, we got to take a break after this one. It's like, can we just get some fries or something and like walk through a little bit? But yeah, I mean, when I was a teenager, I just one line to another and just keep going until 10:30 or whatever until they kicked you out. And but yeah, it was it's always been I love at least going once a year out there, and and I'll keep going until I can't anymore, I think.
Have you been this year?
Not yet. Yeah,
because they got a new roller coaster.
That's right.
Yes, it's called Wrath of Rakshasa. It is they claimed some superlative for it. It's a dive coaster, which for the uninitiated is a type of roller coaster where you get the traditional chain lift, you go up a hit thing, and then the drop is generally 90 degrees, just straight vertical down, and most of them will have you start and then hang over the edge before it drops you and lets you go.
Yeah, love that.
Big fan.
I think WGN did a video last week of the ride.
Yeah, somebody was test riding it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll definitely try it at least once. Maybe I'll get through it. But yeah, I go back. I think the first one I was ever on was the Demon, and it was kind of like my dad sort of suckered me into it. I was 10 years old, and it was towards the end of the night. It was a Memorial Day weekend. It was like in 1985, and I had been on all the the kiddie ones at that point. I hadn't been on a real roller coaster yet. Been on the and he just sort of very smoothly walked us into the line. And next thing I know, I'm in the line for the Demon. And I was like, well, there's two ways out of this. And one was, well, am I tall enough? Oh, yeah, I was tall enough, so I can't, get out that way. And the other was like, well, it's the end of the night. We got to go. He's like, no, once you're in line, you're good. They're going to let you keep going. So I had to go. And I still remember the entire 90 seconds of that ride to this day. It's just engraved in my memory just how frightened I was through the whole thing, coming through that tunnel with the lights going on and everything. But I guess it just broke me, and I was good to go after that. I was like, let's go.
your
So,
initiation.
Yeah,
It was,
that's
yeah.
usually how it goes. You're scared right up until you're not.
right, exactly.
But yeah, and now you're scared to go on demon, but it's because it's going to leave you with an injury.
Exactly. You get a concussion every time you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't go on that one anymore. So
Yeah, I did last summer because I hate myself. Yeah, I was not going to do it again. There was no line, so you could have just kept going, and
yeah,
you can understand why no one was.
right. It just jerks you around no matter how many times they change the seats and try to make it smoother. Those corkscrews get you every time, and it's
Yeah, well, if you wanna know why, it was it was built by a company that's no longer around. It's called Aerodynamics. They were also responsible for the Shockwave roller coaster that used to be in the front of the park. And they were the last of the big firms, and I think they shuttered in the 90s or something, but they were the last of the big firms that refused to use any computers in their modeling, in their designing of rides. So they kind of figured out the math for, this is what our loops are, and then they would just copy paste that onto every ride. And so most of the rides they did that were not just like copies over from other rides, like whenever they did one for the first time, it was always just like, we have no idea if the physics on this actually work. And so they were notoriously always pretty violent and like unpleasant roller coasters, even when they were new. But then, like in the case of Demon, when it's been going for 40 years, it's really rough.
Shockwave was basically just the Demon times 5.
Yeah.
Just corkscrews and 360s, and that was, I guess, wasn't that the tallest roller coaster at one time when it came out?
I think it was the most inversions at a time.
Okay.
I know at the time it did break all kinds of records. And speaking of which, I found what superlative they've been able to claim with Wrath of Rakshasa. It is the steepest dive coaster, which is also kind of a funny designation because, the steepest that something can be, like if what we would think is 90 degrees, but now the competition is how far past 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Can you drop?
So this is a 96 degree drop.
We're going to drop you at a 180 degree.
Right. You just go backwards. Yeah. Like, but so lots of experience with Great America then. What other amusement parks have you been to?
I was at Six Flags St. Louis a couple times when we lived in Arkansas. Went up there twice. Remember the Tony Hawk roller coaster they had down there? It was kind of like to give you the feel of being on a skateboard. And I went on there with my youngest. She was just tall enough to get onto it, and yeah, it was all right. I thought Six Flags St. Louis is kind of like Great America, just like
shittier.
Yeah. I guess that's a good. It was smaller, but it kind of looked the same. But it was one of those things.
Yeah, that's I think that's most Six Flags parks. Well, now it's all jumbled because they've merged with Cedar Fair, so whatever. But the Six Flags parks, usually when you go to them around the country, save for a handful, that's pretty much how they all feel. Is this is Great America, but a little shittier.
Yeah, just different names on the rides, kind of a thing. Yeah.
Like Six Flags Over Georgia is really good. Obviously, Magic Mountain. There's like one for each corner of the U.S., but then the rest of them are just kind of like they're finally mercifully letting Six Flags America in Maryland die. Which is like a decade overdue. It's a depressing empty park.
Gosh, I have family in Maryland and they've never mentioned it before. So.
Yeah, there's better amusement parks in the DMV.
Okay, gosh. I thought Universal Studios was good. Had some good rides. I was there back about 10 years ago. Seemed more like adult roller coasters, adult theme park at the time. I remember that they had a Transformers ride at the time. There's a lot of the simulations with the screens and everything. I kind of like that. Spider-Man was a good one. They had a Incredible Hulk ride. It just sort of shoots you out, immediately. Just that you're at top speed right away. Yeah, those were some good rides. I guess my favorite one of all time probably would have been, I think, Iron Wolf, and it was a stand-up roller coaster.
Oh, that's a terrible choice.
I'm sorry. I love that one.
You're the first person I've ever heard say anything positive about that roller coaster.
True.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that one. I would go on that constantly as much as I could.
Oh, how did you have children?
I was gonna say, and you still had children. That's impressive.
Yes.
That's impressive.
Yes. Yeah, there was that one moment where things got little little tight there before you go on the ride. But yeah, I always enjoyed that one.
That's crazy. Yeah, that I think where that was is now where Goliath is.
Yes, yeah. Which is probably my favorite one at the moment. So I like Goliath.
It's really good, but it's the company that made Goliath is RMC Rocky Mountain Coasters, and they're famous for taking wood roller coasters at a lot of parks and converting them into the type of coaster that Goliath is, where it like kind of looks like a wood coaster, but it's totally not. It's totally a steel track. And that way you can do all the crazy shit that Goliath does. But Goliath is just kind of like, they didn't have a lot of room to work with, so they packed a lot of cool elements in there, but it's just so small and short that I always get off of that going like, man, I wish there was another 20-30 seconds of that, because
story of my life.
So no, Cedar Point, Kings Island.
I was at Cedar Point when I was I was probably 10 or 11 when I was at Cedar Point too. I've got family out in Cleveland, and we went there once. We spent more time at the water park, Geauga Lake, that they had out there than I do remember being actually on the amusement park, which I thought was which I guess is where everybody's gone now. You add a water park to every amusement park these days, at least in the last few years. So
yeah, Geauga Lake is no more.
Oh wow, okay.
There's a water park at Cedar Point. I don't know what the difference is or what, but yeah, see, I mean, that's the Cedar Point's the Mecca. I think is the reason I ask. Like, if you like roller coasters, that's you gotta go there.
That was the one thing back in like 89, 90. My cousin, who's 6 months younger than me, we were just getting these fights over Chicago, Cleveland all the time. And Chicago, Six Flags was actually named the roller coaster. Great America was the roller coaster capital of the world at that time. And he just didn't believe it. I remember we had a big argument over that. I'm like, no, here it is in print. I actually said it. But yeah, you're right. Cedar Point though is it's one of those. It's a great place to go.
Well, it's been kind of an insane arms race since you were there in the 80s, in terms of there's just, you're tripping over roller coasters now when you go there.
In the 80s, they were doing bumps of coke and like, we need to go bigger.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yeah. And then you had the aforementioned Aerodynamics did Magnum XL 200 at Cedar Point, and that was then the biggest, tallest, baddest thing in the world, and that was in the 90s. And then they made Millennium Force, which is the first 300-foot roller coaster, but it's way more rideable because Aero did not make that one. Intamin made that one. And then rest in peace to Top Thrill Dragster. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at with that, with the defunct firm of Aerodynamics, is that was crackheads designing roller coasters.
Okay. Did not know that.
Bring them back, I say.
Yeah, bring them back.
Yes.
Bring them back.
Now, outside of coasters, do you have like any other favorite kind of rides, like, or any that you like don't like at all?
Well, I never could get into like the just the spinny rides, the ones that just kept going round and round. Even as a kid, I just could never get into that. Like going to carnivals, Chicago, like throughout the summers, like every weekend, some Catholic church somewhere was having, a carnival somewhere, and I could just never go on those rides because it just spun you around until you threw up. I mean, the scene in Sandlot is just brilliant. It's just, where they're on it, they're throwing up, they have the tobacco in their mouths, but still, it's just that was me with anything that went in a 360 like that. But I could always handle roller coasters. But yeah, I just anything outside. I liked. I went to Disney about 20 years ago. I did like the Tower of Terror. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, Sam was just there.
Yes, seems like he's always there.
It does seem like that, doesn't it? Yeah.
At least once a year.
Yeah. So I did like that. I wish I could go on more, at this point, but yeah, I just throughout high school, I was those summers where I'd get 4 or 5 times a summer just getting out to Six Flags, and you got to have you have to have your elephant ears, all the food that goes along with it. It's just it's still a great time. The funnel cakes, great. I could go out there and just sit there all night and just watch people go by. I would be fine.
I mean, those are the actual good funnel cakes, because they're actually making them there. Whereas I had a funnel cake at the ball game on Saturday, and those are already formed. That they just drop. They're basically just like reheating them in the fryer, and then and they always smell so good, and then you get it, and you're like, well, this was a waste of money.
That was the go-to place, like the day after prom for us.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. It's usually around Memorial Day weekend. And that at that time you would get, if you come back the next day, you could come back for $1 the next day. So yeah, you could. So we go Saturday, and usually one of the days it was raining. So you come back the next day and come back for $1. Or seeing it, the coupons on the Coke cans.
Yeah, the Coke cans. Yep.
Everybody's, it was like, I think it was like $19 or $20 at the time. It just brings back a lot of great memories.
Must be nice.
That's how old I am. So
we got some fan questions in here. Have you ever been stuck on a ride?
I'm sorry.
Have you ever been stuck on a ride?
Yes.
Oh no.
Okay, this takes me way back. Great story here. The 3 Worlds of Santa's Village. We were, it was me, my dad, and my sister. We were on, whatever the little ride they had. We got stuck at the top, and my dad said that, and I was like 4 years old. So it couldn't have been that scary of a ride, you 4-year-old on there, but we were just stuck. They couldn't, we weren't moving. And my dad said, I looked at him and said, well, is this what it feels like to be scared? So I don't have a whole lot of memory other than the story that he kept saying about that over the years. But yeah, I have been stuck on a ride. And that was the time.
Is this fear?
Yeah, right.
He's like, no, I'll give you something to fear.
Yeah, right.
It's like, I'm gonna hold you over the thing.
Wait, Sam, have you been stuck on a ride?
I don't think I ever have. I'm trying to think.
Because I don't think I have either.
I don't think I have.
I always wanted like the it's not I mean, it's still there, but it's not really. But Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point, I always wanted to be one of the lucky ones that it didn't make it didn't make it up and it rolled back.
Oh god.
Because then you get a second ride for free, basically.
Yeah.
It was like that would happen on Tidal Wave if I remember correctly.
Yeah, a similar phenomenon. Yeah, where these I mean, there's two of them and neither of them's around anymore that Intamin made that are hydraulic cable launch roller coasters. There was King Dakar that they just demolished at Great Adventure in New Jersey, and then Top Thrill Dragster in Cedar Point, and both of these were just a real short. You just get rocketed. In the case of Top Thrill Dragster, it was 400 feet. You just go 400 feet directly up, and then 400 feet directly down.
Wow.
That's pretty much the entire ride. But if the launch didn't, because everything had to be adjusted based on how heavy the train was, how many people were on it, etc. So every once in a while, you'd get what they would call a rollback. You'd get one that just didn't have enough steam to clear the top hat, and so it would roll all the way back down. And I always wanted to be one of them, and I never got that. Very sad.
I remember. I still remember when they had the Edge at Six Flags, and they had that accident out there. I think it was like mid '80s, like 85, 80. Do you guys even remember that ride? It was like the giant drop. It was just a straight drop down, and it didn't stop when it got to the end. And it's just for like 2 or 3 years, it wasn't open, but it was just there. It was just kind of like this, like memorial to just awful rides as you were going. Just kind of a really spooky thing, because it took a while before they took it down. I think they put Shockwave in the spot where it's at, where the Edge was at, but it was just one of those, just giant drops, 150 foot straight down, and there was an accident there, and it's like they didn't know what to do with it.
I see. Yeah, it's a free fall ride. So it was like before they had just the straight up and down towers.
Right.
It was basically like an elevator roller coaster. You go up in an elevator and it puts you forward onto a track, and then you fall. Oh, so you're saying it just blew through?
Yeah, it didn't break. It just
Oh God.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Let's say like 85, 86. It was sometime in that.
Yeah, I mean, it says final season 86. So
okay.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
I hope you have your seatbelt on for this giant crash you're about to get into.
Oh man. Well, and because you would be, when it happens, you would be on your back, wouldn't you?
I think so. I think it came down, and then it's like you're
So you would be like crashing feet first.
Yeah.
That is gnarly.
Yeah.
That's kind of how the Tower of Terror works when you first like go into the ride.
It is like the Tower of Terror. Yeah.
Forward. Yeah. So that's a new fear.
I was at Universal. It was 2014, and it was the weekend that Diagon Alley opened, and we waited 6 hours to get onto, was it Escape from Gringotts? I think. Yeah, because it kept breaking down, and it's like they have 2 tracks, but only one track was running. So we got in line like 5 o'clock in the morning, and by noon we were finally out. And I think my daughters still have friends on Instagram that they met in line. Because I'm the guy. I'm going to meet people and make a good situation out of it. And,
I mean, you're going to be there with them for a while. Why not?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it's a form of like society after an apocalyptic event. You're all in this line together. And damn it,
no one's gonna get there any faster than the other.
You've got kids in line journaling, like you're on the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Like it's been another cold hour in line. One of the other kids says they're gonna make a break for it.
They were
They're like-
handing out waters and Gatorades.
Yeah,
and-
people are
Well,
like
that's-
pitching tents and starting fires and
yeah.
yeah.
We lost
Rationing
several to
supplies.
cholera and
Yeah.
dysentery.
Look at that.
Got
No,
malaria from a
'cause
mosquito
6
bite.
hours
you
is
know?
actually
That's a
fucking
long
crazy.
time.
I think the longest I did was the summer that they opened the Dark Knight coaster at Great America, which was
Oh, hate that thing.
2008, I think. Yeah, because it was right before the Dark Knight movie came out.
Yeah.
And so I guess it had to be 08 or 09. But so there was so much hype around it. It was, and so we went there and waited. I think I did 3 hours for that one,
Okay.
and that was awful. And also that roller coaster sucked. It was not at all worth waiting 3 hours.
If you have a back problem, go on that ride. It'll loosen your back right up. Your
I'm
spine will
old
go
enough
in
to
9
remember
directions.
if you go to the Eagle now, there's like there's an area in there where I don't know what they've got going on, but it used to just be the line. There's that big open area where there's like I think there's this one gate that sends everybody through straight, but it used to be the line, and you would just snake through that. It would take you like an hour and a half just to get on the Eagle, and now it's like this completely opened up.
Yeah, I think it's because
Yeah.
they stopped doing the backwards stop part, so now it's just all open dead space.
Yeah, but 89, 90, that was all line. You
Oh,
waited. You waited.
Yeah, well, and it's I feel that every time I go on that ride, that you can tell that at one point this was the attraction, because that fucking queue to get to the ride is like a 3/4 mile walk.
Yeah, it is.
It's absurd.
Yeah, and you used to just inch your way through it, but
yeah, and now
that's
there's
still a great
never
ride,
you
though.
never wait more than 5 minutes for that thing.
No,
And but I have to agree with you. Because I hadn't been on it in years, and I just went on it last year, and I was like, wait, this is a great roller coaster, because it didn't, because I had also just had the absolute shit kicked out of me by a few roller coasters, wood coasters at Indiana Beach. And so by comparison, I was expecting American Eagle to really beat the hell out of me, and by comparison, it wasn't bad at all. And
No.
it just it puts the fear of God in you.
Yeah, that
when
drop still, it's still a great drop.
The drop is magnificent. One of the
Yeah.
best for any wood coaster that I can think of, at least my personal experience. But when you go up from the drop and you're kind of rounding the turn out over the expressway, it just feels like you're gonna the whole thing's gonna fall apart at any second.
Yeah.
Immediately
Yeah.
collapse.
Just hear it all like crankety. You know, it's like
They're like, we're not even
Yeah.
repairing it anymore. Like, if it goes, it goes.
Yeah, they're because you can tell it looks like shit now. Like they have stopped painting it. Every year I think this is gonna be it for that ride, because they clearly don't want to spend money on white paint.
so
So-
that adds to the fear. You know, you gotta have something. You know, were you ever on Rolling Thunder? Do you remember that one? The bobsled?
No.
No.
That was like this close to being really frightening and really cool. But it's like every time it didn't have a track. So it's like a bobsled. You were just on wheels and you went through this thing. Every time you would get going, it would slow you down and stop you. And then you would go down again. It was almost really cool, but then it sucked, because it's like you didn't get that fear of like flying out of a, you know.
Yeah. And there's very, very few bobsled coasters left in the world, which is really too bad, because it is a totally different experience and a totally different sensation, because you're not on a track, and there's different movements that you don't get to feel on any other kind of thing. Now instead what you get is like things like the copy and paste Joker that they have at Great America, and they have that at a million other parks, but it's a very fixed axis of movement. It's dictating when it spins and flips and shit, and I don't know, it's not that cool.
I hate that ride too.
I didn't love
still
it.
go
I
on
didn't
the
love it.
Whizzer at least once when I'm there.
The Wizard's great, man.
Yeah, it's
I
great.
mean, every Schwarzkopf is great. I went on one in Six Flags Over Georgia. There's a Schwarzkopf there called Mindbender, and it's like it's got the same kind of spirit as Wizard, but it's much more grown up. Like there's a loop in it, and there's it's yeah. I mean, it was fabulous, and those feel super like old timey because they are.
Yeah.
And then and I was just on one which is basically just a miniature version of the Wizard at Indiana Beach, and that one is super janky because it's not even one train, it's one car. It's one singular car.
Okay.
And so you can only get 2-3 people at a time, and it's kind of off on its own platform, so you hear everything. You know?
Okay.
you're watching like a family just go through this thing and just watch the track flex and just like man. No. It just seems it's got that same feeling as Wizard where it's like this feels like it's going way faster than it should.
Yeah. I remember when Batman came out in '92 and you'd wait 2 hours for that one. That seemed like I can only do that once now. It just spins me around too much.
I love Batman.
Yeah.
And I actually got really nervous when they announced Wrath of Rakshasa because I couldn't work out where they were going to put it, and I was afraid because the last time I was at Great America, they had Batman shut down. I was really afraid they were going to get rid of that because that exact layout, which was first at Great America, they copy and pasted that in a bunch of parks across the country.
Right.
So it's like I could see them seeing it as expendable or whatever, which would just be a damn shame because I like all the theming for that one too. I think they got cool props and shit in the line.
Right. Yeah. The one I don't like is Superman. I'm not a fan of Superman because it just doesn't seem like I see the ride. I'm like, looking down the whole time. The drop is cool, but after that, it's just I feel like I missed the whole thing.
Yeah.
my gripe with it is that it's like 50 seconds, and often Superman is one that often has a pretty long line. Especially, I mean, if you go in the summer when it's crowded, that's often has a long line because it takes operations a long time to load and unload trains.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, they didn't build it with. Well, actually, they did build it with separate load and unload stations, but they don't use them
ever,
which
doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes no sense, and it takes so long. You got to bring the thing in, and then all the seats tilt down, the floor comes up. Yep. You unstrap everybody walks off and grabs their flip-flops and shit out of the thing, and then the next group of people come in, and now you got to do all of that again, and it takes forever. But Superman always actually does scare me on the climb because I am afraid of heights, and you are just looking straight down at the ground and just watching the ground get further and further away from you. That's when you're like, boy, I am putting literally my life. I'm trusting my life to the engineers the engineers who designed this harness, but also like the kids who work here.
Right. Who just went by real quick and went, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, you're good.
Right. And you don't think too hard about it until you're climbing up the hill and you're staring at the ground. You're like,
shit, am I good?
Feet. Yeah, you're like, wow, I sure hope this thing is doing its job.
This feels a little shaky.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is like when you're waiting to unload off that ride, you're still in that position and you're just like, fuck, I want to die.
Yes, that is the worst part. That's the worst part of it because it takes them so long to load and unload trains. You finish the ride again. It's like 45, 50 seconds only. And then you're on your stomach like that for 3, 4, 5 whole minutes sometimes.
Yeah, I just feel it's like it's great at the start. There's a lot of anticipation and everything. You're the build up, but then after you drop, I feel like I missed the whole ride. I'm just looking at the ground the rest of the way, and then it stops.
Because if you look up, you're like, that wind's all in my face.
I enjoy the inverted loop. I think that's a really cool.
Yeah, that is cool when you're in that position.
You don't get that in a lot of other things. And they take your picture right at the bottom of it where G forces are pulling your face apart. That's always good.
This is true. We just go to Six Flags to ride the train. That's my thrill ride.
Whee!
They're like, sir, please get off of the train. I paid for my ticket.
I want to drive the train.
Have you ever puked on a ride, Fitz?
No, I have not. I thought I was going to last year. That's when I sort of hit my wall, but I have never puked on a ride or after a ride or on a visit. So not there yet. But you guys, any of you?
I think yes. After my my sixth or seventh ride on one of the Gravitron things that they have at the county fairs, I think I vomited after the sixth or seventh ride. Because my brothers and I were like, we have all these tickets, we'll just keep going on this one. There's no line. I wonder why. Because it's a horrible fucking ride. But yeah, so I think I vomited after 7 straight times on that ride.
Gosh, no. I went up once, and that was about it for me. But yeah, those carnivals, I just cannot do the 360s and spinning. Never could do that.
No, I don't want to do those anymore.
No, no desire. Oh, we lose somebody?
It's too. I think he's having a connection issue, but he'll be back.
Okay.
But yeah, the thing, for Disney, a lot of the rides are very smooth. So that's obviously what we're used to going to do. So that's why we like that a lot. As when we come back to Six Flags, we're like, geez, this ride was shaky compared to all the other construction of a Disney park or any other big park. But
yeah, I like those, like the Disney and the Universal, the whole, you're just sort of interactive in it. You're not actually moving anywhere, but those still got me. I still remember the Transformers one at Universal. I don't know if that's still there, but that was really cool the first time we were on that. They had a Simpsons Land one. Those were cool. I remember going through that, and then E.T. was still there. So we get on the E.T. ride on the bikes. And like, what is this? Just kind of, slowly moving through, the space here. But I guess you just have to do it.
They're like, you're at a spin class. Get pedaling.
Right. Come on.
You're gonna watch E.T. and pedal this bike. This is the ride.
Yeah, that would be a way to do it. Like you set up some kind of a thing that tricks kids into pedaling. And it's like that's how you're generating electricity for the park.
That's how we're powering the park.
You're right. I guess it wouldn't be too different from how Disney, kidnaps children for the Small World ride. Yeah.
I told Caitlin that, but I didn't tell her it was a Family Guy bit.
Oh God.
I was like, yeah, they made the kids into animatronics.
They did something similar to that on The Simpsons with Duffland or Duff Gardens with the you remember that one when Lisa got drunk drinking the water in the river?
Oh yeah,
I am the Lizard Queen. And so you see all the kids coming, Duff beer for me, Duff beer for me.
Yes, perfect. Yeah. Do you like Universal or Disney or Six Flags, or what's your favorite park that you've been to?
I liked, as far as rides go, I think that I enjoyed most now is Universal.
Universal.
Yeah, it's so not very convenient, but
right.
But I do love. I liked taking the kids to Disney when they were younger. I think did I tell you about the traumatic experience, Sam, that my daughter had at Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Right.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got called out into the audience they were gonna perform like it was the Indiana Jones experience or whatever. It wasn't a ride or anything, but
One of the stage shows.
yeah.
Stunt show. Yeah.
And we're there in the bazaar, and they've got us all decked out, and they came to me and said, okay, you're gonna pretend to get shot. We're gonna shoot the gun at you and you go down. I'm like, all right, whatever. So they do this, and my 5-year-old daughter at the time witnesses this.
Oh no.
Now we got there like right as it started, so they were up in the top row, and you just hear this 5-year-old girl just, no, daddy, no. They had to stop everything. They had to, like, he's okay, honey, don't worry. Yeah, I guess I was a good enough actor that she thought I died. So.
Yeah, that's my biggest flaw is I'm just too good at this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you they don't do that part of the show anymore.
They might not.
I don't think they do, no, because the last time I saw it, I didn't see any like crowd volunteers or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think it would go over the same now to have just have someone in the crowd be shot.
Yeah, right. So.
They're like, prank, we took the blinks out today.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, I did like Disney. I like to get back. But yeah, I really enjoyed Universal. That was really I love the rides, just the technology behind them. That was a lot of fun. I remember that.
Yeah, I feel like there's some underrated rides at Epcot.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, there's the really boring one that's in the big golf ball, but then I don't think it's there anymore because it gave a few people heart attacks. But there was a Mission Space or some shit.
It's still there.
Is it there? Hasn't it given people heart attacks?
I think so, yeah.
Because
I didn't go on that one when we were there because I had eaten too much at the German restaurant, and so my wife and my dad went on it, and they said they stopped it to let somebody off because they were having some problems. So,
yeah, I mean it's really cool conceptually, because it's a really immersive simulation of like a rocket launch, and the way that they generate the sensation of the force, the G forces that you would experience launching, is you're in a thing that is spinning, so centrifugal force, it's pushing you to the outside, but you have no sense of that you're in a thing that is spinning when you're in there because you have this screen that makes it look like you're launching in a rocket ship. So very cool sensation. But yeah, I imagine there's a lot of people whose bodies are not prepared for however many G forces that is.
Yeah.
So I like that one. And then there's the test track Epcot has.
Test track is very fun.
That has had all sorts of unfortunate corporate sponsors, but it's a cool, it's kind of a novel roller coaster.
I just remember eating at Epcot. That was about
That's a big thing too. Yeah, they when I was a kid, they had a ride there called Alien Encounter. And it was
yes,
Alien.
I remember this too.
It was a horrifying ride for kids to
terrifying. Also, not really a ride.
No, it was like kind of like a weird show. It was like a 4D show, basically. Like
seat shook
like
and
everything. And...
Right, like it was weird that it had like over the shoulder harnesses as if it were a ride, but it was not a ride.
Right.
It was a show, yeah.
Yeah, it was basically like how the alien is coming into the ship and taking everything over, and they had like the stuff would spray like their spit, whatever.
Oh my gosh.
I would think I was 5 years old in this ride, and I shit my pants because I was so terrified. I shit right in my pants.
It was like they had at MGM Studios had this is again like 2006, 2005. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids simulator type thing, and it's like they simulate like rats hitting your ankles and things like that.
I
like
remember
girls were
that.
just like screaming and like, what are you doing? This is like got snakes nibbling at your ankles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, the alien came up from behind you and like did the spit thing, and as soon as that water hit the back of my neck, I shit my pants. It was so terrifying.
That's really funny.
Yeah. So I guess I didn't get sick on a ride, but I got terrified.
Yeah, tomato.
But any other thoughts about amusement parks you want to leave with us, Fitz?
I know I'm just gonna keep going until I can't. I still like the whole experience of going into them. Just the stinking hot weather, getting on a water ride every now and again to cool off. Roaring Rapids is always a good one. Funnel cakes. The thrill of dropping, free falling at 150 feet or whatever, and assuming that you're going to live. There's I love it, and I'm just going to keep going until I can't.
That's the goal. Just keep going until you can't.
Yeah, right.
Stoop, do you want to ask him your question?
My internet is being so fucking frustrating right now. But is the human race redeemable? Is the question Sam wants me to ask you.
Is the human race redeemable? You're talking.
Yes, it's very applicable to roller coasters.
Yes, I believe we are all redeemable. That's just me,
I think that's
whether we want to be or not, we are.
I think that's the first yes we've had to that question.
Yes, but if you know me, that's what I would say, and so yes, I believe that's my take on life. We are all redeemable. So.
We'll have to clip
this
that
was an
one
upbeat.
If you want another show on that, we can do that.
Yeah, fine. Yeah,
I would even think that or say that, but yes, I do.
Yeah, stick around for the second hour we do on Patreon, where we talk philosophy with Fitz.
Right.
All right, Fitz, is there anything you want to plug while you're here?
No, just check out YouTube. I've got 54 videos now, restaurants around Chicago. Fitzmagic Shy. Like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I was just at Gabriel's family restaurant over there in Archer Heights, Submarine Pier, and it's a really good spot. So yeah, get on over there. That's right at Archer in California. Good place. Awesome. So, but yeah, I'm just I'm gonna keep eating over the summer and tell you about it. So okay.
Awesome. Please keep eating.
I will.
Please keep eating.
And I'm still exercising too, if you're worried. So
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
I was very worried.
I know.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show and talking with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming on. So for everybody else, we will see you in some sort of capacity on Thursday for AskCast. And until then, have a lovely evening. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for having me.